Welcome. Thank you for joining me for another awesome episode of Bio Beats. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and bioenergetic practitioner. And today's episode is brought to you today by Nikki. It's a wearable device it's a non-invasive, easily affordable, and highly effective approach to wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better based life on your hands and on your wrist. In your hands and on your wrist. Sorry, that's like flip that. Make sure to stick around to the very, very end because we always have a special giveaway, but you're not going to want to miss 1 second out of what my next guest is going to talk about today. It's one of my favorite topics. We're going to go deeper into viruses, bacteria, and like the autoimmune link. So let's welcome Dorinda Smith to the show.
Hi.
How's it going today?
It's been a great day. Very, very busy, but I like busy days.
Oof. And where are you joining from?
San Diego, California.
Ooh, fun. I love San Diego.
Nice.
But who doesn't, right?
Right?
I don't hardly meet people from San Diego.
It's a nice place. It's hot here today, though.
We're up to 95 in Colorado today already.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not quite that bad yet.
I was like,
We're at like upper 80s today.
Gotcha. At least you got the ocean you could go play in.
It's true.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and kind of what got you talking about this. I have found that a lot of practitioners, especially in the alternative health space, right? We have a pain to purpose story. So I'd love to hear yours.
Absolutely. Yeah, I sure do. So I was always that, weird little geeky kid that was just into, anything at the molecular level. And so, God just kind of created me that way. And then I was like one of the first people in my family to go through school and actually, get scholarships and all of that. And so I was very, very interested in immunology. And that became immunotoxicology. And then it became immunotoxicology and autoimmune disease. And I was just absolutely head over heels in love with learning the science. So I got my bachelor's and my master's, and I'm working on my PhD, and I'm married, and I'm taking care of my family, and I'm I am the woman, the control freak who's doing everything and burning
The type A personality.
Type A. I am the quintessential type A personality, which we know. Okay, we stress ourselves out too much, and what happens?
Right.
And so I'm at the end of my PhD work, and I'm working the whole time I'm in school, and I'm publishing all these papers, and things are going great, right? And then I really start getting a bunch of really wacky symptoms. And at first, everyone around me, no one thought, oh, you're an autoimmune disease research scientist. You're not going to get an autoimmune disease. That's unheard of, right? But I did. And I got 7 of them.
Holy cow.
Holy cow. Yeah. Within about 3 years, my body just one after another, after another, after another. It was like every time I turned around, I was going to the doctor and they were telling me, here's another diagnosis, here's another pill, here's another diagnosis, here's 3 more pills,
I tell people that Americans especially like to collect autoimmune diseases like trading cards. Like, by the time I was said and done, I had 4. So yeah, that's crazy. Although I think you have the record.
Well, I have seen some people worse than me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it started off with, they said, well, severe fibromyalgia with scleroderma. And then they said, oh yeah, now you got lupus. Okay, now you have Crohn's. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Now you have Addison's disease. Oh, now you have arthritis. Oh, now you have, right? It was crazy. It was like the nightmare thing. My life went from, hey, I'm finally like on top, I'm successful, doing all these great things with my life, and then flip. And now they're telling me that I might only have 10 years to live, that I can't be a scientist anymore. I have to leave because I'm too sick. I have to be at home on disability. and I have to be on a cocktail of anywhere between 12 and 20 medications a day. And I can't even get up to do the dishes without my back hurting so bad that I have to sit back down again. And I went from being like a total identity crisis, okay, total identity crisis, where you go from thinking you know who you are and being able to be confident and do anything, and then all of a sudden now you can't do anything and your body is stopping you, literally stopping you from living your life. And sadly, in my story, my husband couldn't take it either, and so our marriage fell apart. He left. And my daughter was also very sick at the time. She's much better now because of precision medicine now. So thank God. But we both have healing stories. But at the time, she was very, very sick. And so I was taking care of my granddaughter. And then my husband leaves. And
You
then
sound like a country song.
I'm telling you, yeah. And then I just languished for all those years, because when you're trained in conventional science, you believe what you're taught. And when you spend $200,000 on 15 years of education, when they tell you you're incurable, you throw your hands up and you say, I guess I'm incurable. I guess that's the end of my life. I guess my life will end with some weird breathing disorder, and and so I lived like that, but I actually lasted for about 14 years. And so longer than they said I would. But I was having at like that 14-year mark, I was having the worst flare that I've ever had. And I actually passed out, almost completely passed out. I kind of passed out, but I was, I fell on the floor, and I was still like cognizant. And I just cried out to God. I just said, don't take me yet, please, because, I still have my granddaughter to raise, and, she doesn't have anyone but me. And, and I actually said to the Lord, I actually said, I'm a scientist, for crying out loud, teach me, what am I missing? Is there anything I can do? Right. And the truth is that the Lord really did answer that prayer, and he answered it immediately, which God doesn't always do that, but he did. And I got up and got into my bed, and on the TV was a video that said scleroderma, which was my main diagnosis, and functional medicine. And I just said, yeah, that's a bunch of hooey. I didn't even watch it. I was like, that's bull. I just thought it was a bunch of hogwash. Oh, the natural stuff, it doesn't work. That's ridiculous. If medical science can't help me, then nothing else will, right? But that was conventional when I was taught.
It's tough, the brainwashing, I mean, that you guys went through in those years. Like the struggle is real, people.
It is, and it's a real battle. That's my main spiritual battle today, is convincing people that there really is something that you can do, right? You can get better. You don't have to be stuck in all of these different epidemic chronic illnesses that we know now are preventable and mostly reversible, maybe not 100%. But we can do so much to help people with the latest science that we have today. You just have to convince people that it's not snake oil, it's not, it's real medical science. It's just that your doctors aren't using it yet. But yeah, I was able to get well. The Lord showed me this video, and took me about 2 years, and then another year after that to really get amazingly better. And now I'm considered 95% healed. I no longer have biomarkers that say anything about autoimmune disease or not. All my biomarkers are pretty much optimal at this point. And my own roomie, who's a conventional roomie, she said she could not diagnose me now because I just don't have any of the symptoms and I don't have any of the biomarkers. So I have literally reversed 7 autoimmune diseases.
That's impressive. Yeah, I've reversed 2 out of my 3, and
Woo!
it's tough convincing people that it can be done once they've been told this is not curable, you're going to be on this biological for the rest of your life, or you've got this much time to live, or just, get used to the crappy, way of life. And it's just heartbreaking, because then people do take that, and they don't not even lose hope, because they don't even have hope to begin with, because they don't even know that there's a possibility other than the sentence that they've been given, right?
That's right. And all it does, when doctors say that to us, all it does is it puts us into a very negative, depressive, anxiety-ridden mindset that makes it so that we can't heal when we're stuck. It's terrible. It's terrible when there really are so many things that people can do.
Absolutely. So this is a perfect spot. We're going to pause real quick for a commercial. When we come back, we're going to dive in deeper into viruses, bacteria, and some of the other causes that are linked to autoimmune, and some of the stuff that you can do to help start overcoming that today. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My Nikki helps me sleep better at night and helps me feel less stressed.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki, the bioenergetic wearable designed to help you feel better and perform better. Other wearables just track how you're doing. Nikki is about helping you do better. Touch the Nikki screen to choose the frequency you want for what you want to do and how you want to feel. Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. WeAreNikki.com.
Awesome. Welcome back. I can't wait to dive in deeper, because this is going to be a fun story, because like I said, this is some of the stuff I love talking about, and most of the people who are listening today, with a history of Lyme disease, right? Autoimmune, they're used to that place of being gaslit, of being told that there's nothing they can do for them, being frustrated with the Western medical model. So, stuff like this, and hearing it from different people over and over and over and over again, hopefully are giving them hope to go out there and take, become better advocates for themselves, because there is answers out there. So thank you again for joining us today. And let's dive deeper into the second part of autoimmune, some of the root causes of it, especially around viruses and bacteria.
Okay.
Dive deeper, my dear. What are some of the ways that viruses and bacteria can contribute to autoimmune, and what were some of the contributing factors to your autoimmune?
Oh my goodness. Well, when we did my root cause testing, that's where we have to start, by the way. We have to start with the root cause testing. You have to know the different root causes. And it really starts at the metabolic level. Science now knows that something is messing up our mitochondria. And that's the first domino of all the dominoes that cause the chronic illness in the first place, and then eventually leads to the autoimmune disease. And so, we know now that 88% of people are metabolically unhealthy, and that's why we had such a big problem with the big C, because people were chronically metabolically unhealthy. Nobody knew it, right? Or they just don't know how to take good care of themselves. Bottom line is, there are reasons why, very real root cause, scientifically proven reasons for why we go into metabolic dysfunction in the first place. And one of those reasons is the virus and the bacteria problem. Okay. And it's not just virus and bacteria, it's parasites, it's protozoa, it's all these different little bugs that some of them are supposed to be in our bodies, but they get out of balance. And then some of them just decide that, because of environmental factors, we get exposed to them. And because we have such bad metabolic health, which also screws up our gut health and our immune health, now we can't fight these things off. And that's why we have such a high prevalence of Lyme disease that becomes chronic. Lyme disease should be something that your immune system can just fight off. And the reason why your immune system can't fight it off is because you have that bottom line metabolic disorder that caused your gut health to be a mess, that caused your immune health to be a mess, that caused your hormones to be a mess. And now you can't fight these things off. And so now you've got problems with chronic Lyme disease, chronic Babesia, Bartonella, chronic Epstein-Barr virus, chronic CMV, chronic this, chronic that, okay? But you can fix it.
Well, and I appreciate you bringing in that part because there's so many folks, even with Lyme disease, even still today, even Lyme literate medical doctors who still cause and effect, black and white. You got bit by a tick, you got Lyme disease. And if that was the case, everybody who'd been bit by a tick or a mosquito roughly would have Lyme disease, but
We'd
that's
all be walking around the mess.
right. That's not the case. There's an underlining factor that have been going on for years that made us a perfect host. And that's what I love to talk about the most. So thank you for bringing that in.
That's exactly right. And it really does start with the metabolic disorder. And so when we think about what's the first thing that causes a metabolic disorder, that's your mitochondria that cannot make enough energy. That's basically all that means. Your mitochondria they don't have everything that they need. And so therefore they can't produce enough energy. Now, there are rare genetic reasons for that, but they're very, very rare. Really, the main problem is the fact that, can I say this out loud? None of us are living the way we were created.
Oh God, no. I say it all the time. This life is not conducive for human health at all.
Exactly. Almost nothing in our grocery stores is actually food. We don't sleep, we don't eat right, we don't take care of ourselves, we don't get enough sunshine, we don't get enough rest, we don't get enough play. We are so stressed out, we are a mess. We're not living the way that we were intended to live. And what's really funny is sometimes I look at my cat. I have a cat named Henry. I also have a cat named Steve. So Steve and Henry. And I look at them and they're laying on the couch and they're, right. And I look at them and I'm like, man, you got the life. That's the way we're supposed to be living. We're supposed to have our work time and our play time and our lay around time and our go take a walk time and have some really healthy food, actually real food, stuff that actually grows in the ground or grows on trees or an animal gave it to us in a beautiful way that hadn't been treated by, every antibiotics and everything under the sun, right? We're not supposed to live like that. And so that directly kills mitochondria. Something else that directly kills mitochondria is all the toxins that we're exposed to. And of course, we're exposed to all those toxins in our food. That's the main way that we bring them in. But just sitting in this chair that I'm in right now, I'm exposed to things. Now, if my body is detoxing properly because my mitochondria have everything that they need, and so therefore there's plenty of energy and plenty of cellular nutrients, and then my genes are expressing nice, happy proteins, not disease-causing proteins, then when I get exposed to stuff at my desk, my body just says, yeah, I'll just get rid of it, right? But the reason why we develop autoimmune disease, and the reason why, one of those reasons is the bugs and things, is because our cells don't have everything that they need. The mitochondria aren't producing enough energy. We've got a toxic bucket that's all the way full, and we've got a spigot at the bottom of that bucket that isn't even open. And so we're just overloaded with toxins, and that screws up the gut health, makes the mitochondria even sicker. It creates this terrible catch-22. And you just get worse and worse and worse. And before you know it, now your immune system can't fight off all these things that come in. And that's how we get these chronic problems. That's how even the CDC put out a white paper last year that finally admitted, now functional people have been saying it for years, but finally admitted that, oh yeah, even Americans are overloaded with parasites. We used to, only if you go to Mexico or only.
Right. Yeah. If have you traveled out of the country? Like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. No, we
And
all
it's
have them.
funny because I grew up on a farm and we regularly, anti-parasite, anti-wormed our farm animals. And why on earth we don't do it to ourselves is just beyond me. Like,
Yeah, but now we know that we
yeah,
need to,
yeah.
right? Now that's why we have these amazing protocols like CellCore that.
I was just gonna say, I thought I saw Cellcore in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I use it myself. My daughter uses it. My granddaughter uses it. Yeah, it's amazing protocol and just, makes huge differences in this level of toxic load that we're dealing with. And one of those toxic load things is the extra parasites, virus, bacteria, all of these things.
So you had brought up food, and starting to eat, a healthier lifestyle that's conducive towards human health. What are some other tips, for people who are dealing with autoimmune things that they can start implementing today and start reversing their autoimmune stuff?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, this is the most dramatic piece of science that has come out in the last 20 years, and it's the science of epigenetics and nutrigenomics. And what we can do scientifically now is we can wrap people up in this beautiful little test. And it's really not that expensive. I mean, we only charge about $600 here to do it. And, when you consider this is going to help your health for the rest of your life and teach you how to eat according to your genetics, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a drop in the bucket. And you can do this full comprehensive genetic testing, and please don't misunderstand me. I know that there's famous people out there who are offering an MTHFR designer gene test with a COMT, and okay, you need way more than that if you're going to do this right. And
Only
so
one small piece to the puzzle.
teensy little tiny little piece over here when you really need everything genetically working together. And so the kind of testing that we do here is a full genetic test that actually looks at 36 different pathways and over 157 different mutations that we know scientifically you can do something about. And it's not that hard to do something about. People think, oh no, it's my genetics, I'm screwed, I can never fix this. It's just not true. Like we can find your vitamin D problem. Okay, then take some extra vitamin D for the rest of your life. It's cheap. It's $5. I mean, you can do this, right? You can make these changes. But look at all the people who have extremely severe vitamin D deficiencies, and that's one of the reasons why they get the overgrowths of the parasites and the problems with the immune function. And then what do you have? Then you have your Lyme disease and your EBV and all these things building up. Why? Because genetically they had a vitamin D deficiency and no one ever did a genetics test, so they don't even know.
It's so funny too, because you can have your vitamin D tested, but that's just one little piece. Like I found out that I don't store, I don't transport, I don't convert. Like I literally have a genetic issue in every single part of everything D. And so
Yeah,
I found a tanning bed, believe it or not, down the street that's got vitamin D bulbs. And then
nice.
I take vitamin D, and for the first time in my life, my vitamin D level is at a 70, and it, it
Beautiful.
stays that way, right? And it's amazing how much better my brain, my body, everything,
Everything works better
everything,
when you have enough vitamin D.
right? It's crazy.
Yeah, even leaky gut is now linked to vitamin D deficiency, right? Brain disorders, autism are linked to vitamin D deficiencies. So, these things that we think, oh, autoimmune disease, oh no, it's horrible. We're incurable. We can do nothing. We're victims. We just need to go on Facebook and post our memes about how terrible we feel all day long. Come on, people, stop playing the victim. You are not a victim. You have so much control over what you can do. And so we always start people at that genetic level, because at that genetic level, you can hit all of those genetic mutations. You can take action, you can do something about them, and then your cells start functioning better. And when your cells are functioning better, boom, you're off to the races. Now, the next test that I would love to do for people with the genetics, if we could get them to do it, but I'll start with genetics all day long and just get people to eat right from that. I'm sorry, I need to answer that question because
no,
I
you're
will
good.
get off on a tangent.
You're
But the
good.
question of how to get people to eat properly starts with your genetics, because one of the main ways that we fix the way all those different mutations are, screwed up is with your food and with real food. Okay, so it's not like you have to take 100 supplements. It's mostly corrected by your food, and you may need to take some extra supplements if you've got a D problem, or if you've got a major methylation problems. Then yeah, you probably need to take some some liver capsules or something that has extra B, or maybe you need to take a methylated B or something. Okay, right, there are supplements that you can use, but you don't need to use them forever all the time. Right? Like you said, you're getting your vitamin D up the natural way, right?
Oh,
And
well, that's
so
also supplementing with like 5,000, units a day on top of, getting
I
enough.
do that too.
Yeah.
I do that too, because I've got a bunch of problems with D. Most people with autoimmune disease do have genetic dysfunction with their D, and also genetic methylation problems, genetic detoxification problems, genetic issues with inflammation in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh man, you were on a roll. What were you talking about
I'm
next?
always
Oh, the next test.
Yeah. So once you do your genetics, and we teach you how to eat very specifically according to your genetics, and not just eat, but do specific lifestyle practices that are good for your genetics, and also, your supplementation that you need. The next step is to look at exactly what your cells are missing. Because guess what? You're sick because your cells are missing things and they're overloaded with toxins. Boom. It doesn't get any harder than that. That's just why you're sick. Okay. And so you got to do a test that shows what your cells are missing. And that's usually the way we do it, is we do it with a combination of organic acids that looks at all of your inflammatory markers and all your metabolomic markers. And also we want to look at all the different levels of nutrients that your cells are supposed to have. So all your B vitamins and your A and your E and your magnesium and all of that. And you put that together with your genetics information. And it's always so cool. People's eyes are like, I can't believe, and like, yeah, you can't make this stuff up. It's real, it's science, it's not woo-woo, it's not snake oil. It's just facts. And you can see that there's a problem in the genetics, and then, oh, over here now there's a problem at the cellular level. Fix it. Get busy. Right? But that's the next problem, is people want a quick fix. And there are no quick fixes when it comes to chronic illness and autoimmune disease. You have to do the work, and you have to change your life, and you have to change your life for the rest of your life. I could go back to being sick tomorrow if I wanted to. I just start eating Jack in the Box all day long again.
Oh my God. That's all my clients, before I start working with them, I have them read as a prerequisite Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, because
Yes.
if I had a dime for every time somebody was like, when can I go back to eating, or when can I go back to acting like, and my head explodes. I'm
Never.
like, you want to go back to being sick? Like,
Yeah.
that's not how it
There's
works.
your choice. There's your choice. You either live the way God created you to live, which is with good food, good lifestyle practices, and keeping your detoxification going, and right, everything that you're supposed to be doing as a human being, or you be sick. That's what it is. And so and I think that's the hardest part about being a scientist that also sees clients as well. Because, usually as a scientist, usually I would be teaching doctors, or teaching classes of doctors, and then the doctors go out and help the patients, right? But the specific position that the Lord put me in is I love people. I want to be in there helping people. And I found that out as a scientist, that when I was just a lab rat and I'm stuck in the lab all day playing with cells and playing with my, stuff, man, I hated it. Well, I liked playing with the cells. I do. I like it. But I need people. I love people. I need people. I need to talk to people. I need to give them love and energy all day long, right? That's what floats my boat. And I can't do that if I'm just teaching a class of doctors, you know what I mean? And so that's why I chose to have this ministry that I have, which in my company is a true Christian ministry. And we're just, out there teaching people the truth about what they can do for their health and using the latest science and helping them to become the CEOs of their own health so that they won't need us anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so this is the shameless plug time of the show. So where can people find you? Like, what are you putting out right now? What are you working on?
Oh my goodness. So I have an evergreen mastermind that I want people to watch. It gets deep into this whole metabolic dysfunction thing and why you need to be using the latest science and why you can't just depend on conventional medicine anymore because it's not helping us, right? And it's actually making us worse. All those pharmaceuticals and the lack of lifestyle advice, the lack of nutrition advice, is actually making us sicker. It's not helping us at all. And so we really do need to learn how to use the latest science. And so I have this mastermind challenge that I put out, and I would love people to watch it. And then at the end, I love people to order their full genetics testing so we can get them started at the genetic and the cellular level, really starting to make dramatic changes in their health.
Absolutely. Amen. While you're out, make sure to check out wearenikki.com/podcast and enter in BioBeats for 10% off. And because we really love our customers so much, in a way that we show appreciation is we give away a free Nikki with a wellness suite of frequencies. It's about a $4.99 value on every show. So go to the show notes, check that out. This is one of the ways we deal with viruses and bacteria. It's not a magic bullet. You've got to put in all the lifestyle stuff that Miss Smith here spoke about. But the two together can supercharge and you can get better. You don't have to stay sick. Congratulations to the June winners. Win a free Nikki with a wellness frequency set added to it, a $5.98 value. Congratulations to Doug T, Andrea N, Silver T, and Andrea W. Stay tuned and try again for next month. Thanks again to all our loyal listeners. Make sure you share, like, subscribe. That's how we get the message to the world. Thanks for joining me today. Have a healthy day and stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I came to use the Nikki actually through my sister who was working for the company at the time, and she had been speaking to me about the frequencies on there and how it had really helped with stress and anxiety and things like that. And I had thought, well, I have stress and anxiety, maybe this can help me too. And in addition to therapy and other things I was trying to do to help myself, I thought this might be an additional tool that would help me. The nighttime frequency really helps me with my sleeping. The pain frequency, I have some issues with my shoulders and that seem to have gotten a lot better. These things I knew nothing about when I got it. So it kind of morphed for getting it for one reason and kind of helping with other things. I found actually the biggest benefit I found is I am prone to UTIs. And I was always on medication, always going to the doctor, always getting them. And the first time I got one after I had the Nikki, I thought it has the viruses and bacteria. Let's try it. Well, since then, I've had it for over a year. Normally would have about 5 to 6 UTIs in that time. I've had 2 that I've needed medication for, and the rest, I feel it coming on. I put on my viruses and bacteria, and within 3-4 days, it's completely gone. I don't have to have medication. I don't have to go to the doctor or do anything like that. So it's been in that way life-changing for me.
Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.